welcome to another great episode of Get in the Flow. We are kicking your assets in gear, and we're so excited today on my girl, Inemesit Edet from Smart EBill team. She's out in Washington, D.C. Sweet. And oh my gosh, we got to spend some time with Set up in Kansas City last month. Yep. And I mean, God, we were together, what, 6 days?
Yep.
Holy cow.
Yes.
We started at the airport.
Yes.
We got off the plane.
At the airport. Yes.
You know, this girl, she had me singing karaoke songs that nobody knew on the bus, and it was we had a blast. But
We did.
so Set is she's been her business is about a year and a half old, and she's in her growth stage, working with billing systems for law offices. Mm-hmm. And so she's going to tell us more about that as we get into it. But hey, welcome to the studio. Well, thanks for being with us this morning. So we're so glad you joined us.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, awesome.
We are honored to have you. We obviously got the down low of who you are and how amazing you are. Just fell in love with you. But yeah, would you mind kind of updating the viewers on a little bit of your story, how you got started, what you're doing now?
Yeah. So I am a native Washingtonian. I am a first generational American. My father is Nigerian. My mother is from Oklahoma, Lawton, Oklahoma. So I'm a bit of a mixed cultured baby. And so with that said, you know, Nigerians have a very high standard for their children and their successes. And since I'm not a lawyer or a doctor, right, I wanted to do something for myself, by myself, if that makes sense. I have had a bit of a rough time. My parents are both deceased. And I'm divorced. My apartment caught on fire. All of this happened within the same year. My mother died. My apartment caught on fire. I got divorced. My aunt died. I had a series of losses. And I was in my apartment when it caught on fire, actually. So that was kind of traumatic for me. And I did 5 years of therapy. I did maybe 2 or 3 times a week initially. And then as the time went on, I was able to kind of go to once a month and just get myself together, and therapy really took me from zero to hero, if that makes sense, and put me in a position and able to do the great things that I'm doing now, like Smart EBill team. Okay. Wow. And what we do is we provide legal electronic billing services, transactional services to legal departments and legal billing teams. Typically, our clients support the Fortune 100, Fortune 500 organizations, because those are the organizations that require electronic billing. Okay. Sure. And so we just bootstrapped our way to where we are now. I've got 23 employees, and I literally started with my paycheck, and I just reinvested my money into my organization to get to the place where I am now. So I'm really excited about that. Okay,
so I love that you brought this in. Talk about how you started your business with a paycheck. I mean, This is a great story. I love this story. Wow. We got to do it.
Okay, so I'll take a little step back. I was working as a legal e-biller in a law firm setting, and CFO that brought me into the first law firm that I worked for, he wanted somebody kind of new with fresh ideas to head up the department.
And this is as an employee.
This is as an employee, yes. I was working for a major patent law firm in Washington, D.C., and I was able to learn e-billing and create manuals for the firm in 2 years. And the head attorneys for the firm ended up sending big emails to the entire firm, giving me accolades saying that I had given them the best e-billing numbers they had ever seen. Wow. And so that made me very happy and proud. And then, of course, the CFO that I was working for retired. And I went to another firm, and I realized they had the same struggles, right? All these law firms have the same problems. E-billing is not well handled. They don't have the resources. They don't have the know-how, and they don't have the time in order to successfully do it. And this firm wanted me, I was the e-billing supervisor. They wanted me to train people in India to do the e-billing for us, and they were going to pay them $150,000. And I just thought to myself, well, wow, if they're going to pay these people who have zero e-billing experience $150,000, imagine what they'll pay Set, right? Somebody who's written manuals and has been able to kind of master the territory. And so once I realized that this is what I wanted to do, I left that firm and I took a demotion and went to another firm and worked on my business at night. And then when I was ready, finally ready, I did some cold emailing, sent out 3 emails to organizations that I saw were hiring e-billers on LinkedIn. And so I researched the CFOs for those organizations. I looked up the law firms on LinkedIn. Then I went and looked up who the CFO was for these law firms. And then I sent emails directly to the CFO saying, hi, do you need help with e-billing? And my third email, I got a response. That tells you how niche that market is. And because, of course, I didn't have any startup money, what I did is I asked for retainers. I asked the lawyers for retainers, and I started my company that way. So every client I've had, except for one, has given me a retainer. So
Right.
yeah.
And you said you've got 23 employees now?
I have 23 employees now. Financially, we're doing pretty well. I've already made 250 grand this year.
That's great.
So I'm really excited about, the successes and the progresses that we're making. And Josh, I know we've talked about this a bit before. I kind of slow rolled it because I wasn't ready to handle, a large mass of huge law firm clients.
Right.
And we're just now kind of getting our footing so that we're ready kind of to build and take us to the next level.
Okay, so all right, now this is really cool. You want to go to the next level, right? You've been a year and a half in. You're in $250,000 in revenue in the first quarter of 2023 after 18 months. That's impressive, right?
Yes, it is.
I mean, most people don't make that in a couple of years,
Yeah.
let alone one quarter, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's what's really cool. You talk about the next level. Why don't you tell us where you were this last weekend? And let's talk about that a little bit and how going to the next level, what that looks like.
Sure. So I just returned home from doing the casting call for Shark Tank.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm looking for investors now. I'm looking for some big dollars to help me go to the next level. I have figured out what I think the missing element is with these legal tech softwares. And I actually have created a very dumb version of a legal tech software that is in initial stages. It's a management software. And we're also looking to do e-billing conferences so that we kind of unifying this process because there's a lot of corporate clients and a lot of law firms and they kind of butt heads a little bit. There's a disconnect and I want to connect them, if that makes sense. Usually there's an organization that's trying to market their company, but they're not really concerned about the nature or the culture of e-billing, if that makes sense. And organizations they lose millions of dollars every year. And hopefully Shark Tank I will find a Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank who will give me the funds I need to get this ball rolling, to get to this next step, to really grow. I want to get clients in every state of this country. So
that's amazing.
I love that. So you definitely hit on your future endeavors and what you're pressing into now. Is there anything that strikes you as something you could have done better in the past, 1.5 years that would help our audience to not make maybe that same mistake,
Delegate. Right? One of the biggest mistakes. One of the biggest mistakes CEOs make or entrepreneurs make is the rookie mistake of not delegating. You think that you have to do all of these things yourself, by yourself, and for yourself, and that is not true. You just need like-minded individuals, intelligent and competent individuals who can help you with so many projects so you're not drowning. And once you start drowning, that's what takes your business longer to develop, right? So once I realized I needed to delegate, that's how I've gotten this far, right? Just paying people to do the work, taking the loss, the financial loss, pay people and extend. Right, that's how you go from a small business to a startup. You don't want to get stuck in the mom and pop frame of mind, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense.
I love that. That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. What is the mom and pop state of mind?
For me, it's just a business that is doing well per se. They're producing they have some profits, but they're limited profits. They're not really in a place to scale. Right. It's almost like having a few hot dog stands That's always my analogy. You have a few hot dog stands, but that's as far as you want to go, right? You're making constant money, but you're not really growing. You're not expanding. Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
Agreed. And I think that is something that we see a lot of, and especially me, I'm new to this entrepreneurial space in general, but I've seen that throughout my family, throughout other experiences, that you're exactly right. It's not scalable. And people lack the delegation type of backbone that they need. So holy cow, that's huge.
Well, so
Yeah.
I want to shift gears real quick.
Mhm.
And I don't think we've talked about this in the past at any point, but it's part of the national conversation. All right. So as an African-American woman,
Mhm.
what are some of the challenges that you have faced in launching this business? I mean, this is a big conversation.
No,
today,
this is a very great question. I'm glad that you brought this up. You know, my industry is a white male dominated industry. And
Yeah.
I don't know of any other Black females who have a legal tech business or who are creating legal tech. With that said, the beautiful thing about Smart EBill team is that we have information that major organizations need, right? Like they call us because they have no choice ultimately, right?
Sure.
There are not many resources out here for EBilling. They really don't exist. The law firms lose millions of dollars every year. And oftentimes once my team members get me into a meeting with a new potential client, you know, there's always that shock factor that I'm the CEO. You kind of see it on their faces like, hi. I actually had one person say to me, is it the CEO joining us? And I said,
Really?
I am the CEO, right? There's nobody else invited to this meeting for a reason.
Right.
And just, I get stares. I have a client in Toronto, one of the Seven Sisters. If you don't know what that is, it's the 7 largest law firms in Canada. And
Okay.
I have a client that's one of the Seven Sisters. And
Wow.
and Toronto, you would think is a much more diverse city. It's supposed to be the most diverse city in Canada. But when I go to Toronto, I get stares, and I'm usually the only Black person staying at my hotel.
Really?
And there's
Wow.
been a couple of instances when I'm the only Black person at the airport. I usually fly into a private airport on the island. I fly Porter. It's a direct flight from DC to Toronto. And you don't really have to deal with a bunch of the riffraff from traveling from the major airport in Toronto. And
Yeah.
usually the only Black people I see there working in the kitchen. And so, you know, I get stares, I get questions a lot. Everybody wants to know who I am and what do I do? And then there's always a surprise shock factor. So yeah, I deal with that a lot.
Are you there?
Hello?
There we go.
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
here. Yeah, I'm here.
Nice. There we
Yeah,
go.
that was
Okay,
weird.
sorry, it muted us.
For some reason, we got
Oh,
muted.
okay. It's okay. Yeah, so I deal with that a lot. The stares, the questions. Oh, so what
Yeah.
brings you here? Are you here for pleasure or for business? But you know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're prying. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wow. That's incredible. And that's gotta fire you up.
You know what? You know what? I've been Black all my life. I've been fortunate enough to grow up in Washington, DC, which is such a very diverse area, and it's the highest concentrated area of educated Black people on the planet. And
Wow.
so I've got a great foundation, right? And
Right.
one of the things I've learned as a double minority is that the less people expect of you, the easier it is to shock and awe them, you know? And so I
That's
just take,
brilliant.
you know, you take what you've got and you use what you've got, right? The
Love it.
stupider you think I am, and then I whip out a manual and I'm like, I did this, I can do these things for you, you know? So in that aspect, it works in my favor.
Well, you know, and I think anybody that's listening, I think the thing that I really appreciate is that race and gender have nothing to do with success.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing to do with success. And I think you just nailed it. I mean, you are an amazing person, and you're an amazing individual.
Oh my goodness.
And it's so kudos to you. Kudos to you. 'Cause
Thank
I know that there are a lot of odds that are stacked against you as a double minority. So, you know, it's let's talk. Can you talk about the mindset that you have? I mean, you talked about it a minute ago, like, hey man, I love it. You take advantage of it.
Yeah.
You know, so
You
can
have no
talk about that?
choice, right? Like we all have our hurdles, we all have our difficulties. I did really good in getting some clients, some good clientele, and because I don't care, right? You can't tell me no, right? One no is closer to the next yes. And if you don't tell me no, that's a yes, right?
That's
I'm going to
beautiful.
bother you until you tell me yes or no, right? It's about persistence. It's about dedication. It's about having the passion and the drive and sticking to it and not letting anybody afflict you negatively. And when you need a break, you take a break, right? You don't burn yourself out, right? And those are the things that I focus on. Those are the traits that I try to stay on top of and just keep going and keep learning, right? Because we don't know anything. As far as I'm concerned, we don't know anything, especially as new entrepreneurs. There is so much information out here, especially being on the blocks, just learning a few little, for a few days. And now imagine if we did that for 4 months, right? How much information we would learn. So I'm just, I'm excited. I'm excited about Smart EBill team. And I'm excited about, the video game of entrepreneurship. It's like, you have to dodge a couple of hurdles. Did you make it to the next step? Did you make it to the next step?
Level up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then a couple times you, right? You fall off and you just, you get some extra lives and you keep it going.
No, I love that. I want to kind of sink into what you were saying and just first and foremost, kind of as a preface to that, like when I first met you, it's totally how you hold yourself. Like you walk in and you have authority written all over you.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
That is
Yeah, you do.
amazing. It's like, this person is business and they are ready. And again, of course you can have fun, but you are the authority in your space. And I think that's so much of it. You have to be confident in what you're doing. Yes. And you're so humble. You said you don't know anything.
Right.
We don't know anything.
You know a ton about what you do, but you still know nothing in comparison to what the whole world has. So you're so humble, but what does that look like for you? Were just nailing into all these amazing principles of how to get better, of continuing to get better, of doing this and doing that. Like boil it down to maybe what you're using. Is it a specific book, person, podcast, just for our viewers out there?
Oh, well, I think it's a combination of things.
Okay.
Number one, all of my friends are entrepreneurs, every last one of them.
Awesome.
I don't hang around anyone who's not an entrepreneur. Well, I lied. I have a few friends who are lawyers, emergency room doctors, chemical engineers for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. But the point is that it's a level of professionalism, a high level of professionalism, and we kind of scrub up against each other. And our conversations are always about being productive, investing, our hurdles that we're having. And it's just, we're all kind of just like-minded. It just kind of happened that way. We were all regular employees and we all kind of just drifted off into, entrepreneurship. And on top of that, as I mentioned earlier, I did 5 years of therapy. Creating that internal strong foundation is key because when you're an entrepreneur, there are a lot of negative emotional withdrawals, right?
Yeah.
Like all day long, every day, there's so many things draining you. And if you're not giving any positive emotional deposits to yourself, then your cup will be empty, right? And then you do get burned out. So you have to make sure that you are giving yourself positive emotional deposits so that you can be strong when you do come against these hurdles, right? That you're prepared. You're prepared. Right. Yeah, and you're not trying to climb out of the hole. You're just, you just sink down a little bit and then you rise right back to the top because you're prepared and you're solid, if that makes sense, right? It's like wearing an armor. You have to have all these levels of protection, emotional protection, physical protection, financial protection, a support system. I mean, it takes a village to start a company, like it takes a village to raise a child. And Smart EBill team is my baby. So I give it all I've got.
All right, so we're gonna have to have you back on because I'm gonna tell you what, I don't like onions, and you just became my favorite onion because we just keep peeling back layers, and there's so much more. And there's like every time we pull it back, there's more and there's more. You are absolutely amazing. We're running, we're running out of time.
Understood.
But so last two questions.
Yeah.
Who's your ideal client and how can who is your ideal client and how can they reach you?
My ideal client would be a law firm that is in need of e-billing assistance. And that's almost every law firm right now because a major software did a major upgrade and everybody had to leave off of an accounting system. So all these law firms need a bunch of help. My best ideal client would be someone who is ready and open to new e-billing information, who is ready to organize and change their processes to stop getting those big losses. And you can get in contact with us at info@smartebillteam.com, or you can look us up on our website, www.smartebillteam.com, and we're ready to help.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna make sure that we add the link down below, because I'm sure there's gonna be somebody that is in your space is gonna be watching this, and they need to reach out to you. You're doing amazing things, and you're making a big difference in your space, and so we're so grateful to not only to have you on the show, but we're just honored that you're our friend.
Yes.
And we're so grateful, and I know there's gonna be so much more to come.
Hugely.
You know, I mean,
Thank you guys.
dude, it's like we got you going, and you got a lot of passion in there. I mean,
I'm
you're a small little package, but man, you're like a firecracker, you know. So we absolutely love you.
We do.
And
I love you guys too.
yeah,
And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
absolutely.
And I'll come back and talk to you guys when you guys have time for me. I know you guys are busy. And I'm happy about that.
We're gonna have to do a longer episode. We'll do a special with you. I mean,
Yes.
so
jam-packed with good stuff. My goodness.
you're doing some amazing things. So, well, guys, this has been a blast. And Seth, we're glad you were here. It's been another amazing info pack. 20 minutes.
I
Can't
know.
believe 20 minutes is gone. But thank you so much for joining us.
We
Get
were in the flow. That's
Get
all.
in the flow.
Yes.
We are kicking your assets in gear, and
We're out.
we're out.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.